What is up guys, I'm WhipsyBL and this is Final Fantasy, which was recorded several months ago now I think. That's what happens, you get exams, you get overloaded with work, blah blah blah. But now, I'm obviously doing it, and enjoying a nice cold beer because I'm done with exams, for now. Also I have passed 2 of the 3 exams I had this year so far, so it's always nice. So unlike last time where I ended in oncrac, I made a changed decision to go to Gaia instead and get the protection rings. I figured that would be a much better strategy or idea. Never know when they will try to erase your existence. Well, that's what happened last time someone used instant kill spells. Whatever. Also, I'm not too healthy. Well, I cough a lot, but that's about all, really. It shouldn't be too much of a problem, I hope. Whatever. But you go to oncrac, because that's where we'll go to the Fiend Sanctuary. I think it was called Sunken Shrine in this, as much as it was in Dawn of Souls, I believe. Don't know. Some sites claim that you should be at least level 18 before going through this dungeon. I really don't care. All I can say is this: make sure you're packed with lightning spells, harm spells, and have at least completed the Castle of Ordeals before attempting this. What you choose to do is up to you, but in my opinion if you want to do it early, then that's your safest bet. Pretty much. But you'll rack up a lot of levels anyway, so it really doesn't matter that much. Really. Okay. So if you talk to this lady, and you start out on the 3rd floor, and you meet the ever so lovely sea snakes. And yes, I said 3rd floor. This is because, well, there's 2 ways to go now. Head right and find some treasure, or head left and take on the fiend. You want to head right in search of treasure, because in the treasure room you will find one particular item which will allow us to reach, or to do a couple of things that will then give us an item so we can get access to the Mirage Tower, and then use the warp cube to reach whatever it's called, and then we'll fight the 4th fiend, and then we can take on Chaos. Okay. So these are your first real enemies, the Sahagin, which you should be familiar with Red Sahagin by now. And then the green one, speak properly, is Wizard Sahagin, I guess. I'm just guessing that WZ is Wizard. In the Dawn of Souls edition they have a different color scheme and are named Princess Sahagin, I think. Sounds about right. But this goes to show the use of the Zeus Gauntlet, and that idea sink in, because a lot of these enemies are water based and so they're weak to lightning. With the use of the Zeus Gauntlets casting lightning too, you have a pretty decent chance of taking down just about everything. Okay, this next room has nothing in it of any value, in my opinion. But you meet the ghosts. They are the bane of my existence, which sounds weird. But you'll see soon enough what they can do. I will not spoil that for you already. But I hope you have harm free and fire free. They will deal the most damage, and I'm not sure if a critical hit is necessary in order to kill one, but you need a good damage roll in order to kill one. I would say. And also this one went against all logic. Usually for me, either the one in the middle or on top or above will usually be the one to survive. This time it was the one on the bottom. You can have 10 playthroughs and that just about never happens. I don't know why. Also the white sharks, grey sharks, I believe they were called, I didn't catch the name. I don't always look at what's going on whenever I talk. First things first, we get the opal armor, which gives protection to lightning, and also only the knight can use it. It is pretty good paired with the dragon armor, which means that they have the same armor rating and evasion penalty. But what separates the two is that opal armor only gives resistance to lightning, while dragon armor gives, well, resistance to everything. It's a dragon, it's immune to magic, it should be obvious. I've also recently tempered with HQ settings on an emulator. I didn't do that before I recorded this several months ago, but if I can run it and if I like what I see, you might see better quality on these emulator games on NES in the future. Can't guarantee much, but we'll see where that turns out once I get a recording done of that. And hopefully you got a good glimpse of what those ghosts can do. Trust me, they could do a lot to my knight if they wanted to, I guess. Or as well. Sounds about right. The light axe, when used as an item, will cast harm 2. Don't know what's wrong with my English right now. It casts harm 2, so undeads beware, I guess. Whatever. You'll also see here that the healing staff has a lot of uses, but that should be nothing new. Not that new, I'd say, but yeah. The mage staff, when used as an item, will cast fire 2, so undeads beware. There's too many that's either weak to fire or something else, it gets ridiculous. Also, sea snakes are, from my experience, not poisonous. There's a reason why I'm saying that. You'll learn that later. But right now that's not important. Now welcome to the 5th floor. No monsters, no enemies, same thing, and a lot of treasure. So we get the opal amulet and about 10,000 gil from this room. Now you'd think the opal amulet has the same effect as the opal armor. No. It doesn't resist lightning, according to the sources that I could find. And also, what I learned from... No, I didn't learn from that. I don't know what I'm saying. But just keep that in mind. It doesn't have the same effect as the opal armor. So just think of that before you assign it to anyone. Not that it matters, but if you're doing it with the intent of thinking that it resists lightning, you might want to reconsider. And if you're doing a speedrun, these fucking mermaids are screwing things up all the time. Whatever. Now we get the opal shield. And I might as well say this right now. It is the only other opal piece which gives resistance to lightning. There's still a reason why I'm saying that, and I could reveal it right now if I wanted to, but you'll learn that soon enough. You might be able to guess what I'm trying to lead you towards, I guess. I don't know. Now this is one of those really tricky rooms, or floors. But the universe works like this. Or this room. It breaks any law of physics that I know of. You keep moving left and eventually you'll come full circle. Which makes no sense to me, but whatever. The item we desperately needed was the slab. Sounds like a weird name and I probably even pronounced it incorrectly. But you'll learn why it's so important. It should be. Otherwise I wouldn't lead you up here. Well, other than the armor, but there's always a reason with everything we do. And before you ask, in case you couldn't pay attention, the opal gauntlet and helmet does not give lightning resistance. End of story. But we're done with this floor, so we just have to backtrack. Yeah, that sounds just about fun. There's not a whole lot else I think I should be saying, or telling you. But consider some of these things when you go in. The ghosts are your main enemy in this. They're not the only one, don't forget that. But they're your main enemy in this, aside from the fiend, but still it should all make sense. Here's your second enemy. May not appear too deadly, but oh, they can be. Now this might sound against all logic you can think of for yourself. Ice spells against water elements. Everything in this dungeon is just about water based, and we've only used lightning up until this point. What the fuck? Even I don't understand why ice are supposedly effective against water elements. That's how it were in, well, Dawn of Souls. It appears to be the same case here as well, I guess. There isn't much else I can say about it, but that's how it is. It's just like San Andreas, where you're not allowed to question what Sweet is doing or is it? You're only allowed to question 555 we tip and what Sweet is doing the entire time. Everything else just makes perfect sense. That's to quote a certain speedrunner, aka Joshimus. Probably pronounced that incorrectly. Whatever. Okay. Gray sharks, they haven't appeared to be that scary to me, at least in this dungeon. I think they were a lot worse in Dawn of Souls, and when I do a playthrough of that, we might see if that's the case. But for now, that's not so much what I want to point out. And yes, you get a lot of gil in this dungeon, like anywhere else. Meet the Naga, an enemy which I didn't even think would show up, or let alone even existed. And they can use lightning-based spells. Now for the next thing you need to understand is why these magic attacks, of course excluding the knight since he can resist lightning, but why it sometimes does more damage to others than what it should be. Because there is a big jump in the whole, well, damage range, so you could say. What happens is this. It rolls on a damage, but ribbons protect against all magics. Any type, doesn't matter. So, those who have a ribbon will receive significantly less damage, I would say, from magic attacks than someone who doesn't have a ribbon. Which should be obvious anyways. Also, you met the sea trolls and the lobster. One of those can cause poison. And when that's said, it should be obvious which one. In case you can't figure it out, you'll actually see it at some point. I can reveal that. Also, this floor doesn't have any treasure on it. so it's just one big waste trying to look for it. So no, that's the way it is. In general, enemies here are just here to be a nuisance, pretty much. Now, when I see something like this, I'm questioning whether lightning is actually effective against the sea snakes. I'm quite certain it's supposed to be, but I have my doubts. I didn't bother looking up what it might be. I just focused on what I thought were the essentials, at least before I prepared myself for this. What else? I believe that was a ghost battle from last memory. Either that or it was another bunch of sunken. Also, I didn't point this out, there's not necessarily only one wizard sunken. The most I've seen is 2, but that's how that goes. Even though this right here is a fixed encounter, you can run from it. I fail to understand how that will ever work out. Whatever. I've been saying whatever for almost 16.5 minutes now. Well, that's awful. Yeah. There's a reason why I suggest going through the Castle of Ordeals before this. Zeus gauntlets. Upon even more Zeus gauntlets, even though there will only be one to get. But that should make perfect sense. The wizard staff will cause confusion. Any monster that's confused will hurt itself in confusion, to quote Pokemon, because that's true. It might be hard to see when you would not use it. I will not be using it that often, but I know when I will be using it. Sounds like some of you might be thinking, well, wouldn't someone think that anyways, regardless? And it's true, you consider each situation. And, well, it's unlimited uses of it, so there's no reason in not using it, pretty much. Except for the fiends, pretty much. Well, some of them have a weakness to it, but I think the only one that has it is the first time that you fight carry. I don't think it's there at any other time, but that's the one time I'm quite sure it is there. So now you will see even more damage against water elements. And this is pretty much my argument that ice spells are super effective against water elements. Sounds silly to say, but I'm standing by it, regardless. Also, for those of you who don't know, the weapon I've equipped to my knight is a sunblade. It's effective against undeads. My ninja has an ice blade, or ice sword, who cares? Yeah, that should pretty much state itself. White Wizard has a silver hammer, or mithril hammer, if you're playing Dawn of Souls. Might be the same of Origins whenever I've mentioned Dawn of Souls, but... well, the two games are very similar, but I'm not sure in what sense the two are similar. Now, I got very confused here, even though I had studied the layout, I got confused by the placement of the stairs. So you will now see just how long it took me before I realized that, hey, I've already been here. Not that it takes that long, but it's rather embarrassing. That's how long it took me before I started thinking, wait, something's not right here. Past me was a huge dumbass. Well, I shouldn't be saying that, but we can all make mistakes, I guess. That's too many I guesses to guess the guess that I guessed. Oh, that's silly. But since I already knew the layout, and I pretty much had what I needed, I should just go for the stairs, right? Well, we'll see if I actually do that, because I can't even remember the majority of what happens here. Well, the important stuff, that is. But you'll see the use of light axe and mage staff. Fire is very effective against the undead. Harm is very effective as well. You're not necessarily this lucky, but this is why you want to pick up those items to then use as an item. Sounds silly, but you want it, basically. You can always run from a battle, but at some point you have to be the appropriate level to advance your character. This is the final floor. You have to follow a specific road to not get lost, which is self-explanatory for any game. But yeah, that's how it is, pretty much. As for the boss battle itself here, his physical attacks, depending on who he hit, it may or may not be an issue. But you shouldn't worry too much about spells. There's one in particular that he casts constantly. You might even be so lucky he'll never attack and only use his one spell, which can't even cause you any harm. But that's just how that is. I can't guarantee you anything because it's all in the RNG. Whether or not you are lucky, I shall not know, let alone predict. So these are the final enemies before we go through, or go into the fiend battle. And it has to be tedious every fucking second. First things first though, heal up, which not even I should be telling you that. You should be able to figure that out for yourself. The fiend's ball is shattered, evaporating that. Ho ho, I'm Santa Claus, yeehaw. Release the kraken. Now no one else is allowed to make that joke on this video. Use anti-lightning as the first thing, and I didn't know this at the time I recorded it, but he only has, of his offensive spells, he only has lightning spells. Lightning 2 and Lightning 3. Of his non-offensive spells he has Dark, which he will cast very very often. Also he's an octopus, he has 8 arms, so he can attack 8 times. Weren't those game designers just clever? Well, the strategy here is the same as it would be for Carry, and pretty much every other boss in this game. Well, except the Fiend, or the Earth Fiend Lich, but I made an exception. Use fast before, well, anyone attacks, pretty much. Defense will increase evasion, and otherwise just use lightning. Probably avoid that your white wizard dies. I can't guarantee that yours will survive though, but it's very random who he chooses to attack. I just got unlucky here. Very unlucky. But luck is a dangerous mistress, as it will always change. Like this. Epic win, I'd say, but whatever. When was the last time I used an whatever? Well, was about to say it there. But the most important thing right now is healing our white wizard. He charges a service for it. Well, old men gotta buy Viagra once in a while, I guess. But the obvious first thing to do is heal up. Now it seems like, how can I fit an extra 8 minutes? Well, less, but... oh, you'll see. No, not random encounters. But it's something else. The majority of it is just me trying to think a clever thought and just messing up. I know I have to mention level 7 spells. Don't buy Saber or Blind. At least for your Black Wizard. I might buy Heal 3, but not right now. And Aura, you have protection rings, it shouldn't be necessary. Yeah. Some people might say, why not buy Saber, it increases attack. That's only half the story. The full story is increases attack for the caster. So only your Black Wizard would get benefit from it, none of the others. You could buy Temper, but I'm not going to temper with it. That was way too punny than it should have been. Blah blah. Now you will get to see what happens when I try to make an independent thought. I should never, ever make those again. Well, not in this case, but I'll leave you to enjoy the show. And that's all. I wanted to land, but couldn't remember where I could. I've seen a speedrun where you could run, or land very close to, but I couldn't remember it, and just said fuck it. But first of all, we head to Melmondo. One is that I need to sell junk items, the 1 or 2 that we now have, but we also need a specific spell. Don't bother with ice armor, we will never temper with that again. And I'm keeping my 4th protection ring, for now, in the very least. I don't know if I will be keeping it, but I'll have it for now. You give the guy this slap, or show it to him, I don't really know. God damn it. But you do that because he will teach you a language. We couldn't, well, reach the end of the game without learning said language. Didn't even pay attention to what it was, but it doesn't matter. What it comes down to is that you can't enter the road to the 4th fiend without doing all of this. And not being able to do this would mean we would not be able to finish the game. Next thing here is buying warp. I will use it on 2 occasions that I can think of at this given time. One will come up pretty soon and one will come up at the end of the game. And when you're speaking of the end of the game, you lost it. But without being, well, annoying. Okay, that can't be avoided, but what is it about the end of the game? Well, it's this. There's only 2 things left that I have to do. Defeat the 4th fiend, reach chaos and then kill him, and that finishes the game. So this will be in overall 10 parts, so there's only 2 more for me to make of this. Now after I post this video, I will be going home for a couple of days. I've missed a few things that I should otherwise have done and missed a couple of held back a couple of appointments because exams. But I will be back on Friday and then hopefully record a bunch. I hope. We'll see by then. But we'll skip all battles because they're not necessary. Money is not so much a factor anymore. Not that I can think of at this given moment. I'll see to it later, but Right now I'm thinking it's not much of an... It has no effect anymore, pretty much. We'll see though. This is a long walk. Well, not really. But it's still a walk that's long enough for me to get bored of it for the 9th millionth time. Dawn of Souls. Damn it. I don't remember the name of this city, but this is the only time we will visit it, so it doesn't really matter. But if you come here before giving the slap to the person, you will not understand what's going on here and won't be able to progress. But talk to this guy and he gives you the chime. And now that we also have the warp cube from, I believe, previous episode, we will be able to enter the 4th fiend or reach him or her. And you also saw the one of 2 uses I will be when it comes to warp. There's only one more use, which won't come until part 10. If you haven't played the game before, you might not be able to understand why. But you'll see. It will save me quite a bit of trouble as well doing it, so that's how that is. Aside from the fact that these giants choose to be pricks, we still run. And that is about all I have for this episode. Don't know how long the final 2 will be. But, we'll see. Sometimes I'm surprised that the length is much shorter than I had figured. And sometimes you can cut down a whole bunch of time from random encounters. Some I keep because I find them necessary. But some will just get monotonous and will just drag out things much longer than they really should. What else can we get? Ice 3. We definitely need that. The one level 7 spell I will buy for my black wizard. As for my white wizard, there's Cure 4. Don't know if I will buy Harm 4 yet. I most likely will because of a battle that will soon come up. Anyways, take care, peace out.